Of course, there are very many reasons why people are homelessness. It's not just drugs, it's not just alcohol. There are many other young people slip through the cracks, to use a cliche. And that's what Diana wanted her sons to know. And indeed, Prince William is saying he's contemplating taking his own children to meet people because they are going to be his future subjects. And Diana lives on. Her spirit certainly lives on through her eldest son, William. He was only 11 when Diana took him and his brother Harry to meet the homeless people at Centrepoint and at the St Mungo Trust, which also looks after homeless people or endeavours to do so. She didn't want them to grow up in a privileged bubble. She didn't herself, because although she was the daughter of an earl and she went to private schools, her father didn't have any money when they were young, and they had to live in a grace and favour house provided by the royal family at Sandringham. But until her father, Johnny, inherited the estate at Althorpe, and his father said from time to time, you're not going to inherit this money and you're not going to inherit this estate. She didn't have privilege, and she didn't want her sons to grow up in that privileged world. She wanted them to meet the real world. And Prince William has now said that he wants to end the scourge of homelessness. And it's a very noble ambition. And there's nothing wrong in this world with ambition. Of course, every single question, Aisha, is political at the end of the day until it becomes theological. But he doesn't have to clash with the government over this. He doesn't have to question the government's housing policy. All he has to do is to remind them of laws which already exist, which say that developers should make available affordable housing, low-cost housing, when they are given planning permission to do huge new estates. And that sometimes doesn't happen. Now, he is the proprietor of the Duchy of Cornwall, and that's 135,000 acres around the country, some of the nicest spots. He also owns a big chunk of London real estate around the Oval Cricket Ground in South London. And he wants to do something, and he says he's going to do it. And I'm quite sure he's very sincere in that. And I wish him, and I'm sure you do, the very best of good fortune in his endeavours.
Absolutely. And I think it's such an important issue, homelessness, right now. And it was actually something, interestingly, during the pandemic that the government did some very good work on this. A lot of shelter was provided for homeless people. But that, of course, has changed now. I mean, the thing I'm struck by this is the issue of homelessness and housing has become an intensely political issue. And actually, it's an issue which is causing a lot of grief for the ruling party, the Conservative Party. There's a lot of division even amongst younger Conservative supporters and older Conservative supporters about building more housing, about building more affordable housing, more social housing, as you say. How does he balance the politics of this? Because I think where I slightly disagree with you is I think housing is a really political issue, and I think there will be some people who will leap on his actions, even if he doesn't intend them to be political, and make them political, which could be quite embarrassing for the government, whose record, I mean, they've just scrapped house building targets, for example.
I didn't say it was not a political issue. I said he doesn't have to make it a political issue because the laws are already there. All he has to do is give a good example. And it's amazing how things can turn around. If it becomes fashionable, maybe with other landowners, even as bigger or almost as big as he is, to do something about that. Of course, there are very many reasons why people are homelessness. It's not just drugs, it's not just alcohol. There are many other young people slip through the cracks, to use a cliche. And that's what Diana wanted her sons to know. And indeed, Prince William is saying he's contemplating taking his own children to meet people because they are going to be his future subjects and Prince George's future subject, should he become in due course king of this country. So they have to know those people, and it's very, very sincere. His father, Prince Charles, with the Prince's Trust and other things, has also done over the years tremendous things. And you can bet your life with this system that we have, and it's an extremely good one. When the king gives an audience to his prime minister, on Tuesday nights, during which he can be informed and he can warn and he can encourage, you can bet your life that he'll be telling the government what he thinks about that.